So welcome back. I hope you're enjoying this. We got 5 relationship principles down. We're going to jump into 6 more today. And the whole theme of today is how you connect with others. But just as a reminder, on Sunday, we talked about the relationship test. How do you know if you may have some heart work to do? And we looked at the prodigal son story, and we said, if you can't embrace and celebrate others because you're really too busy thinking, hey, where's my party? Chances are there's some work to be done. And then we talked about the words of Jesus, the golden rule, basically, when he said, you need to begin to think of others. And so we're just talking about what it means to surrender relationships and how we practically build them. And we're hoping that you're enjoying these principles. Do you ever wonder how you can meaningfully connect with others? Like, how can I connect with my spouse? How do I connect with my kids or my parents or my boss at work or my employees? Like, how do I meaningfully connect with them? The ability to connect is not automatic. Today, we want to ask about how you connect, because to increase your ability to connect with others simply means we need to stop thinking about ourselves so much, and we really need to begin to focus on others. The implication's kind of obvious. If thinking about others is a struggle for you, chances are you may struggle to connect with other people. I want to read for you what Paul wrote in Romans. He said, strength is for service, not status. Each one of us needs to look after the good of the people around us, asking ourselves, how can I help? That's exactly what Jesus did. He didn't make it easy for himself by avoiding people's troubles, but waded in and helped out. I love how Paul wrote that, where you show up to relationships and you ask yourself, hey, how can I help? And that's really what we're talking about today. So am I ready to connect with others? Principle 1, the big picture principle, right? The entire population of the world, except with one minor exception, is composed of others. I don't know if you like that one or not. I love that one. To some people, this is a complete shock. People who are self-centered and self-focused, they miss this big reality. And because they miss this, they don't understand when you say, hey, think of others. They still think they're the center of the universe and the world kind of revolves around them. And what that means is they're failing at connecting with others. That means that people might be willing to do things for them because they have to, not because they want to. So what does it take for someone to snap out of this selfish world? Just a couple things. Number 1, maybe someone's growing, they're reading books, they're listening to others, traveling. It kind of helps snap you out of a selfish world. Number 2, if you serve, you go to New Hope, you serve the homeless in Harrisburg, you serve at church. It kind of helps you learn what other people's experiences in life are, and you can kind of break out of selfishness. Number 3, maybe a new responsibility at work, maybe at home. The young man who just got married has a child, and all of a sudden he realizes, hey, it's not about me anymore. It's about my family. It's about this young child. Trauma can snap us out of our selfish world. Many times when I do a funeral, one of the things that happens is people walk in and out of that funeral and they realize and they think about the bigger things of life, because what a funeral does, it kind of puts life on hold for a little bit, and you have to kind of break out of that selfish world. So in general, to snap out of selfish world just requires us to get out of our ruts and routines. Am I ready to connect with others? Principle number 2. The exchange principle. I love this principle. We call it the exchange principle. Instead of putting people in their place, put yourself in their place. We just expect more from others than we do ourselves, right? And so how do we view ourselves? Well, we always view ourselves through the lens of good intentions. I intended to do that. I'm a good person. I wanted to do that. Well, how do we view other people? Well, we view them through the lens of their actions. Let me give you an example. If you're late to work, you had a good reason. It's reasonable and it's understandable because you had good intentions. But what happens if someone else is late to work? Well, you need to hold them accountable because of their behaviors, right? In the area of in a marriage, if you don't follow through on a promise, it's okay because you had the best of intentions. But how do you hold others accountable? How do you view others? Well, they blew it. My spouse blew it, so I have to hold them accountable based on their actions. Do you see what we're saying? We just view ourselves in a better light than we view others. So how do you know? How do you begin to focus on others and begin to see things from their perspectives? Well, it's really about simply listening and being open to learn their point of view. If you're willing to listen and learn and kind of understand their point of view, you're looking for things that are similar. If you're not listening, if you're not giving that relationship time and learning from their perspective, chances are the relationship isn't going to feel like you're connecting, and it's really not going to go anywhere. And this is really the primary reason why we fight with parents, we fight with teenagers, and we fight with our spouse, and we fight with people at work, is because people are struggling to listen and learn from other people's perspective. Your struggle to connect might be because maybe you're not listening enough. Am I ready to connect with people? Principle number 3, the learning principle. Each person we meet has the potential to teach us something. So why do people struggle with focusing on others and treating others like they can teach us something? Well, sometimes it's because of pride. I view myself as I know it all, and you don't have anything to teach me, so I just kind of ignore you. Sometimes it's because of a bad attitude. I like my comfort zone. I don't want to move out of my comfort zone. Don't ask me. Even if moving out of my comfort zone is better for me, I don't want to do that. I just want to stay right where I'm at. It's kind of a bad attitude. So number 3 principle really is, let me bring it up here, is the learning principle. Everyone can teach us something. Principle number 4, the charisma principle. I love this principle too. People are interested in people who are interested in them. The charisma principle says, and helps us connect with people who are interested in people who are interested in them. Dale Carnegie, who is a master of relationships, said, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years trying to get other people interested in you. Being a charismatic person has nothing to do with personality. The person with no charisma will walk in the room and say, here I am. What can you do for me? Fix me. The person with charisma will walk into the room and say, there you are. What can I do for you? The question for you and I is, are you becoming interested in others, or are you trying and waiting for others to be interested in you? If you find in a relationship that you're doing most of the talking, chances are you're probably not connecting with people because you're not giving enough time to listen, and you're probably having that struggle. Principle number 5, am I ready to connect with other people? Number 5, the number 10 principle, believing the best in people brings out the best in people. The reality of life is that you're going to be hurt, people are going to let you down, and they're going to disappoint you. So what should you do? Well, you believe in them anyway. Why? Because you want people to do that for you. And I have to be honest with you and tell you that this has probably been one of the most difficult things I've had to do in all my years of leadership, is constantly believing people, encouraging them, communicating with them, and just trying to build them up. And many times people don't believe in themselves, and they kind of don't come through. The reality is we continue to believe in people because when they are ready, this one principle will just pour into their lives. We need to be believing in people. Am I ready to connect with others? Principle number 6, the confrontation principle. Conflict is a big part of relationships. It's just a reality. And the worst thing you can do in a relationship when you feel like there's tension or conflict is ignore it, put it under the rug, and just hope it goes away. Absolutely the worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do is going to demand the most out of you. Just get honest and have a conversation. And if this was hard for you, maybe the best way to deal with conflict in a relationship is don't view it as something where you're going to confront someone and it's emotional and there's a winner and loser. Maybe a better way of dealing with it is, hey, I just want to sit down and I just want to be clear about things. Like, this is where I'm at. Where are you at? Because I think it needs to we need to remove the emotion from the idea of having, hey, there's going to be this big conflict. So the question that we're really wrestling with today is, are you ready to connect with others? Do you feel like, hey, I'm connecting with my spouse? Am I connecting with my parents, my teachers, my bosses? Like the big principle is, how do I feel like I'm connecting with others? So let's just recap real quickly. Principle number one, the big picture principle, the entire population of the world, with one minor exception, is composed of others. Principle number two, the exchange principle. Instead of putting people in their place, put yourself in their place. Principle number three, the learning principle. Each person we meet has the potential to teach us something. It kind of takes a humble heart to get that last principle. Principle number four, the charisma principle. People are interested in people who are interested in them. I just have to say real quickly, if you want to connect with people, this is probably principle is huge and probably one of the most important. Just connect with people, listen, talk to them, but more importantly, listen. People are much more interested whenever people listen to them. You'll feel like you're connecting with them. Principle number five, the number 10 principle, believing the best in people brings out the best in people. And principle number 6, the confrontation principle, the worst thing you can do is ignore confrontation. Jump in and don't look at it as a win-lose. Just jump in and have a conversation to bring clarity to the relationship. We hope this is giving you handles. Again, love to hear from you. What do you think about these principles? Tomorrow, we're going to jump into the big question, how do I build trust? We'll see you tomorrow.